I've been meaning to talk to you for a while. I feel like this has been a long time coming. I'm obsessed with big ideas.
Okay.
And I told you this when we first started working together, that my favourite film is Jerry Maguire.
Yep.
And it was stemmed out of...
I still haven't watched it.
For anyone who hasn't watched Jerry Maguire, go and watch Jerry Maguire. Now, Suzanne has came on board as a concept room client now. She's got a brilliant idea and a brilliant model for helping people. For anyone who's not aware of that model, what is that model? Well, firstly, who are you? What do you do? Where do you come from? In the immortal words of Cilla Black.
Yeah.
And what does he do?
Okay. So my name's Suzanne. My background is health and social care. So I've been in the healthcare sector for 25 years. I've had my own home care agency for the last 12. But I've also had my own personal experience of being a carer for a family member, my own dad, who had Parkinson's. And the reason this has all come about is I think when you're in the world of the terminology and the knowledge that everybody in your sector knows, you start to become a bit complacent about what Joe Bloggs on the street actually knows and understands. And I found it really difficult to get to speak to the right people and put the right things in place for my dad, even with my own knowledge. So that idea has come that, even if I can just help people with little things just to help them, support them on their care journey, then that's what I want to do.
I love that. Were you in the industry before your dad was diagnosed?
Yeah.
So is this what you've done kind of?
So I've done this since college.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So it inspired you to take even more of a big step into sort of the care world.
Yeah. I mean, my dad himself was somebody who helped a lot of people. He was a scout leader. We've always done things to help others. Like we did canoeing, we taught canoeing. We've done all sorts of things like that as a family. My dad was very much helping communities and supporting people. And I suppose it's a little bit of that as well, that I know he'd want other people to feel supported and looked after. So, yeah.
I love that. How old was your dad?
My dad was 76 when he passed away. Still working and, till very near to being quite poorly, really.
Excuse my ignorance, but that seems like a fairly young age.
Oh, yeah.
Usually you associate care with much elderly people. Case in point being my grandparents at the moment, who are both in some form of care. And they're, well into their late, like basically 90 years old, and then I go into the care home and I see the average age of the people in there, and the average age must be 85 maybe. So 76 seems quite young. Yeah.
He was a very, very active man, a strong man. He was an electrician, so he was crawling through floorboards and all that, in his 70s. And it's incredibly difficult to watch somebody who's been that strong decline very, very quickly, and that can make you feel quite helpless as a carer.
For anyone who might be navigating this now, is there any sort of telltale signs that people can look out for in this situation? Or does it just kind of randomly come on? The reason why I say that is because around 9 years ago, I had split up with my ex, and I'd moved back. And at the time, my mum and dad's house, they were just moving house, downsizing, because obviously we were all grown up and moved house. And so the house was like, I couldn't move there, couldn't stay with them. So I ended up staying with my nan.
Okay.
And I ended up staying there for the best part of a year and a half in the end. And at the time, she was perfectly fine, but the odd time, she'd say something that was a bit odd, and I'd think to myself, oh, that's a bit odd. But you don't think anything of it. You just think it's like she's 80 years old, this and that. And then over time, you realise it's the sort of early onset of dementia. In her situation. But is there anything sort of early doors that people can watch out for in that sense? Because if I was a bit more aware of that, I probably would have took more action at the time. But obviously, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. So I think what we notice when we see a decline, so obviously the other arm to my business is I have a home care agency, and when we're starting to go into people, often it can be when Families start to notice things, but the person themselves is quite in denial. Things that we tend to look out for as carers is like evidence of food being eaten, medication being taken, appointments going to, that sort of thing, like start to forget things. But it's important to remember that obviously in dementia, the long-term memory is still there. It's a short-term memory that tends to go. And if you think of a bookcase, you've got all your strong early childhood memories, bringing up your children, all that sort of past memories are all at the bottom of the bookshelf, and then you've got all your recent memories at the top. If you get hold of that bookcase and shake it, the books at the top are going to be the first ones to wobble and fall, and that's what happens in dementia. That's how it's explained to people. So if you can realise that those things at the top of the shelf are starting to fall off, those early memories are starting to fall, then that is the signs that dementia is starting to fall.
That's really interesting, that, and it's resonating that, because I remember when I lived with her, sometimes we'd sit at night and she'd go to bed at, say, 8 o'clock and I would stay up and watch the TV for a bit, and she'd come down at like 9:30 thinking it was the morning. And an hour had passed, and she'd thought like the whole night had passed. So that was one thing. And then she would recollect stories of when my granddad died 20 years ago, and they had like a real sort of enduring marriage over years and years and years. And they were born in like the 1930s. So in the 1930s, let's say they were married at 18. So she recollected them going to the swimming baths in New Brighton, the outdoor swimming pool that there used to be. And they met there, and she would tell me that story from years ago, from the 1950s. But sometimes you couldn't remember what was in the fridge.
Of course,
and that's such a, when you witness that in real time, it's quite a bizarre thing to even think of, because you're like, what are you talking about? But yeah, like, I didn't really notice at the time. I just thought it was just kind of like signs of aging. But then you realise over time it's not that. I'm from the social media world now. So we work in social media, we work in content marketing. We do all that with the content room. Now, information about all this stuff, about anything really, is like been at our fingertips now in this day and age. So, at a Google search or a ChatGPT search or a YouTube video, all the information that we'll need for pretty much anything is at our fingertips. But people still have information fall through the cracks, and they don't know how to navigate stuff. Knowing what you know now and the experience that you've got, how do you help people navigate that information, which can be quite overwhelming?
So I think, I use ChatGPT all the time. I mean, it's so good for finding answers quickly to something which you might want to think outside the box about something. I think it's good for that. But it's also remembering that that's only generated by information that's available online, and it's not always tailored to the person you're looking after. And I think that's the difference. It's got to be specific to the person that you're, say, for example, you want to fill in a form for somebody, attendance allowance, something like that. It needs to be specific for that person and not what the internet tells you should be writing.
Totally. Yeah, it's good information, but it's not human information.
Yeah, exactly.
I love
and
that.
You don't always know it's accurate.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, when ChatGPT first came out, this is slightly digressing a little bit, the answers that it would give would be fed, the information that was getting put into it was basically feeding the answers that it would give.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was basically at the start just an information gatherer.
Yeah.
So it was just gathering, every prompt that was ever put in was just gathering more and more information. To the point where it got so much information that, it can navigate pretty much anything and just tell you. Now, what I find ChatGPT really good for is like, helping you, do admin tasks or emails or this and that, and it'll help you search different things. But actual human things where you're navigating something like that, especially that can be quite a sensitive topic and quite distressing topic.
It's not there,
it's not human.
No.
It's and I talk about this with the content room all the time. Like, I can get AI to do a video for me. You can do that. I mean, even if it was lifelike and a deep fake, let's say, that was totally copying me. And it's quite scary in a way that it can do that, but it's still not me.
No,
it's still not. It's still not navigating my actual thoughts and emotions and all that kind of thing. So in this like digital world that we live in now, and with this, I always say like information. We grew up in an age where information was quite scarce.
Yeah.
So if we wanted information, we'd have to go to the library or we'd have to go read a book, or we'd have to at least go out of the house and hunt for the information.
Yeah.
Wouldn't necessarily be at your fingertips. Well, it wasn't at your fingertips. No. You'd have to literally go. I remember being in college, and you'd have to navigate the whole library, find the book, find the right page, do the actual research, write the references down, all that stuff. Yeah. Now, ChatGPT can just do that for you. It, like literally, it's there within 2 seconds. But in a sense, information, the value of information back in the day was really high because you couldn't get hold of it. Yeah. It's like gold, and like the reason why gold's valuable is because there's not much of it. Yeah. But these days, information's it's been devalued because it's just at your fingertips. Yeah. So now, all of it to me is white noise until you become the ideal client. And then when you do become the ideal client, and in this case, it's if I get my parents who end up with a condition or this or that, I become your ideal client. Now, the tsunami, the tidal wave of information that's out there can be so overwhelming for people. I suppose the question I've got for you on that is, how do we take that information? Obviously, you've got services that do this now, but how do we navigate that information and figure out what's the right stuff to look at, what's bullshit, what's the best stuff, and what's the right course of action to take?
I think it's trying to simplify it and writing a list of what your urgent needs are and addressing those needs first, because I think everybody's been there where you go onto the internet and you end up in a bit of a rabbit hole of the information, and you're trying to find out all sorts of things that actually you don't really need to know. On the flip side of that, though, I was watching something the other night with I can't remember his name, Chris somebody, who's blind comedian.
Oh yeah, the one who's on Strictly.
Yeah,
can't think of his second name, but yeah.
He was doing a program about AI and how it's helped him, and he's this app on his phone that helps him do everything. So, for example, getting dressed in the morning. So he was in a hotel room. He packed his case with all his clothes, whatever he was taking with him, and he asked the app, I've got an interview. This is what I want to wear. I want to wear a navy shirt and blue jeans. Find this for me. He found what it was. It even told him it had a few creases in and he'd need to iron it. And if they thought that would be suitable for him to wear. Just how incredible is that? And how much independence has he gained from just doing that?
Exactly.
He said he used to spend hours putting cutting different shapes in the labels on clothes so that he knew what colour they were. Like that. I mean,
yeah, it's a crazy thing, that really, isn't it? Yeah. Just to round off the social media part of this, obviously with social media now, there's like a lot of noise. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. What are the positives social media can play in navigating this stuff?
I think it's a way of getting in front of people quickly and getting them to notice you. And I think we've discussed this about being the face of your products, or your company, whatever it is that you sell. You've got to talk to people and humanise the process, haven't you? They've got to know you.
Yeah, I mean, I think in our case, we share this because we both got similar sort of things that we offer to people on social, in terms of like community and everything. You're able to build a safe space for these people.
Huge.
That's huge,
thing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like having people being made aware through social about having a safe space where they can navigate these issues that are quite sensitive, that they might not want to talk about to the average person.
Yeah.
Or even a family member that they might find it hard to talk to, or they might be having a disagreement with a family member about a certain thing in this case. But that's so valuable for you, but it's also so valuable for them in the sense that you can create them communities and safe spaces and sounding boards and places where people can go and get these resources that aren't just adding to the never-ending amounts of shite that's out there, to be fair. Excuse my language, but that's basically what it is now. I mean, I look at the content marketing landscape now. There's so much shite out there. Like, there's so much garbage. And you think to yourself, just put good information out, right? There's no actual logic to just putting this information out there. But how that benefited, obviously, you, but also the people that you work with, and having them sounding boards and safe spaces in the online space?
It's like a safety net for people, isn't it? I mean, it can be difficult to even admit that you're struggling, can't it? And the guilt that comes with that, and sort of the sense of expectation, especially in care. You know, you might not have the ability to drop everything and care for somebody. Your life may not allow you to do that. And the guilt that comes with that can be huge.
100%. I mean, I know that firsthand, not personally. Yeah. I was always, I don't want to sound insensitive saying this, but I'm not like the most emotional person in the world. Like, I'm emotional in terms of, like, I love my family and I love the people around me and I care for people. But like in the case of my nan, like, I was always like, she's got to go in now. Like, it's quite black and white to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a case of like, oh, there's an emotional thing about keeping her at home and this and that. Whereas my mum was a bit like that.
Yeah.
But having that information available to us and the stuff that you offer now I think is super valuable. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. Talk to me a little bit about Helping You Care. Generally, like, how's it structured? What can people expect, and how do people get involved?
So ultimately, it's community. So there's a free community on Facebook, but then there's also a membership, which is a private area which people can access resources, access to me. We do live Q&A sessions. There are also step-by-step guides into filling in forms and all that stuff that nobody hates doing but has to do it. And then there's also the ability to work one-to-one with me as well, which we can really deep dive, and it's a done for you service. So I would then support them into getting all those things in place.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate your time. If someone does want that help, where's the best place they can find you?
So the website is simple, helpingyoucare.co.uk, and all the information is on there.
Unreal. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it today. We're going to be doing some absolutely epic content over the next few weeks. And
a podcast.
Yeah. Well, this is like the first like practice session for podcasting, and I can't wait to just see what kind of people that you want to bring onto the podcast and do all that good stuff. And I just can't wait to produce it. And I'm really obsessed with big ideas, and I only really work with people now who I believe in the big ideas, because there's a lot of ideas that just don't get built for whatever reason. Maybe there's not a demand for it, or maybe there's not it's not a good idea. But I genuinely actually believe that people we work with now, yourself included, the ideas are, the massives are going to help people, especially in this world where it is becoming more digitalized and AI based. And I think that human touch and just having more creative. I always say the future of business is creator led, but it's human led. But it's not just human led; it's creative human led.
Yeah.
Because with all this AI stuff, I mean, it's going to displace the average jobs. Do you know what I mean?
Think it's using it in a way that helps you, but it doesn't replace.
100%.
As you say, human touch and knowledge.
You speaking to someone about this stuff, a robot is not going to do that. And an AI tool is not going to do that. I mean, how frustrating is it when you go on a website and you get like the AI customer service bot?
So, you speak to.
I mean, I was trying to add an issue with Sky Television. I'm going on the website and you get a fucking AI bot, and you're like, fucking hell, this is mad, isn't it? Yeah. And you just like, give me a human, just let me speak to someone.
But it's so clever though, because my mum's quite savvy, and she's 76, my mum, and we recently booked an Airbnb, and we had a problem with it. And she was emailing Airbnb thinking she was speaking to an actual human. And it was only when I looked at the content and I went, you do realise you're speaking to an AI bot. And she didn't think she was. She thought she was actually speaking to somebody. And I was like,
Do you know when your mum and dad like can't send an email from the phone, or like they're looking at it going, they can't navigate the apps and stuff? I think if like we don't learn AI now, we're gonna be like our parents when you can't use AI. I was listening to Elon Musk on a podcast, and he was saying that he reckons in 5-6 years' time, apps on phones will be like Blockbuster Video. It'll just all be AI based stuff.
That's amazing.
And I can't even figure in my head what that actually looks like, but we'll always see as it comes out, right? But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to put all this content together. You're going to be putting some epic content out. I can't wait to help you do it. It's going to be amazing. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.